wanted to come on here and talk to you about What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. So I picked up this book, I want to say about 2 years ago. And when I read it, I wasn't really expecting, with everything I read, I only just go at it with no expectations. I read it for what it is because I always feel like if a person is telling a story, I'm not going to have any preconceived notions, and I'm not going to read reviews on what other people thought of the book. I'm just going to pick it up, read it, and then form my own opinions. So that's what I did with this book, and I'm so glad that I picked this book up. I loved the stories that she told, and the way she told her stories was basically like giving you advice, or anybody that reads this book, giving advice based upon her experiences. Now, I don't think she means it as like, this is my advice to you, but it does kind of come across in that way. Now, it's not preachy at all. It's a very loving way of saying, this is what I went through. This is what I got from it. This is the lesson I got from this experience, and it's what I know for sure. So when I started to read it, I felt really inspired. And now everybody knows Oprah Winfrey is one of the most successful women in the world. She basically started out, as a, segment girl in Chicago, at a Chicago news station, and they would just put her in little bits of segments, and she worked her way up to being an anchor in a time when, number one, women weren't really allowed to be in the front of the camera like that. She was told she shouldn't be in front of the camera because she was a woman, African American, and to their standards, not beautiful. So she overcame all these obstacles by not seeing them as obstacles, just going over them and not taking anybody else's word for what was going to be her life, what her life was going to be. She was going to determine that. And a lot of these lessons were just basically that, her telling people, listen, this is what I went through. This is the lesson I learned from that. And this is what I know worked for me. This is how I applied it. This is how I lived it. And it's very inspiring without really meaning to be. It's just because of her lessons and because of her experience, it just is. It's a book that kind of inspires you to get out of a funk. If you're ever in a funk, if you ever want to get out of a rut when you don't know what you should be doing or whatever, pick this book up. It's so small. The book is only about 228 pages, and they're very, very small stories. Like they take up 1 or 2 pages at the most. So you're not going to be sitting there like, okay, get to the point. She gets to the point right away. I'm going to give you an example. This story in itself, this little bit, was what made me buy this book. And when I read it, it's here, it's in the back of the book, but let me read it to you. When was the last time you laughed with a friend till your sides hurt, or dropped off the kids with a sitter and went away for the weekend? More to the point, if your life ended tomorrow, what would you regret not doing? If this was the last day of your life, would you spend it the way that you're spending it? I once passed a billboard that caught my attention. It read, "He who dies with the most toys is still dead." Anyone who has ever come close to death can tell you that at the end of life, you probably won't be reminiscing about the all-nighters that you pulled at the office or how much your mutual fund is worth. The thoughts that linger are the if-only questions. Like, who could I have become if I had finally done the things that I always wanted to do? The gift of deciding to face your mortality without turning away or flinching is the gift of recognizing that because you will die, you must live now. Whether you flounder or flourish is always in your hands. You are the single biggest influence in your life. Your journey begins with the choice to get up, step out, and live fully. I love that. I love that. It's basically like a slap in the face. Like when I read that, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? And now that's not to say that this is just going to make you feel bad. There's so many different stories like that will inspire you and kind of like let you know, wait a minute, like you are definitely worthy of living your passion and living your life and doing what we love. I mean, who would have guessed that there would be this forum of YouTube where we can sit here and talk about the things that we love and interact with other people that love books, for example, and and just do whatever. But the thing is that sometimes we kind of get in a rut and we don't pursue those passions. We don't pursue the things that we love, and we think we're not worthy of success, or we think we're going to be laughed at or joked at or talked about. Well, who cares? Are you happy? Because if you're not doing things in your life because of what other people might think or say, you're basically a slave to that person or their opinions. So that is what I loved when I read this book. There's so many little things that kind of reinforce you as a human being. It reinforces people to kind of step outside of what their comfort zone is and seek out what it is that's going to make us happy. And I think we have let ourselves become so complacent with our mundane life that we don't think outside of whatever box people put us in. I am a mother, so maybe I shouldn't be making videos. I was told once when I was performing and I was dancing, oh, but you should stop dancing now because you're a mother. And you know what? Little by little, I actually ended up stopping to my dancing. I didn't perform anymore. It's because I let other people get in my head and tell me what was supposed to be in my life. And now I'm like, screw that. As funny as it is, I'm starting to dance again. I am doing ballet, which is really incredible because I'm not a ballerina type. But guess what? I love it. It fills me with joy. And yeah, I may not be able to move like a 100-pound ballerina, but I'm loving it. I'm having fun, and it's helping me feel good about myself. So who's to say that you can't do whatever the heck you want to do? So I love this book. I buy it all the time, and I gift it and I regift it and I regift it because I want everybody to have a chance to read this book. If you want to read something, it's really quick. It's such a small book. You can stick it in your purse, bring it with you, and get a little bit of lesson, every now and then. I've reread this book however many times. Every time I read it, I feel like I get something new out of it. And so I definitely hope that you get a chance to read this book. Let me know if you've read this book, what you thought of it, and just share it with everybody that that you can come across. There's nothing better than sharing wisdom. In Puerto Rico, there's a saying, "El que coge consejo llega viejo," and basically that's saying, whoever takes advice makes it to old age. So it's always good. It's always good to listen to people's advice and take whatever you want from it. If it applies to you, great. If it doesn't, then whatever. But I think this is a gift. Oprah Winfrey is the bomb. She is an amazing woman, someone that I definitely respect and admire, and this book was one of those things that I was not expecting it to be one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, my favorite books in the whole wide world, but it really is. And I really hope that you guys get a chance to read it. It's beautiful. It's got this like fabric-y type of cover, and it has the deckled pages. It's really cute. It's a really good book. Mine is really dirty because I take it everywhere, so I apologize that you're seeing this one. I've lent it out, and I'm pretty sure it's been all over my car at the bottom of it, but it always is with me. It's very close. So I wanted to share this with you guys, talk to you about it, and hopefully if you read it, you let me know what you think. If you have a book that you would like to recommend that I read, I love getting book suggestions. I actually read a lot of everything that anybody suggests to me. I actually make it a point to go out and read it because I value your opinion. I value what you like, and so I hope that you get something positive out of my videos. And if I make a book recommendation, just know that it's coming from like my deepest part of my soul, and I want to share it with you because I think it was a really great book, and this definitely was one of those. So I hope you have a great day, have a wonderful, wonderful time reading, and make great books be in our future.